Archetypes are a concept introduced by Carl Gustav Jung in his works, and are an integral part of Jungian psychology. Jung describes archetypes as typical attitudes, ways of behaving, and ideal forms and drives that must constitute the typically instinctive behavior of humanity. Ideas constantly present in the human mind throughout history. These ideas can be manifested in multiple ways, especially in art's many forms. In this series, we take a look at how these archetypes are represented in video games. Welcome to the Game Archetype Library. In a day that might seem like any other, something invades the orbit of a planet, seemingly a meteor. Unbeknownst to any possible observers, this object carries something beyond the comprehension of the population of that planet. Without anyone noticing it, this thing from beyond infiltrates the planet, and its influence grows slowly and silently, only being discovered during a late stage of its infiltration process. This is a generic description of the skeleton of a plot that might fit multiple storylines that involve the archetype of a thing from beyond. This archetype is present mostly in stories of the scientific fiction and horror genres, mostly due to its predominance in the works of H.P. Lovecraft and the eventual influence that his works will have in these genres, but are not exclusive to sci-fi and horror. The idea of the thing from beyond has its origins in the belief of the prepositions of the possibility of existence of life outside Earth. The first documented references of this possibility being brought up are from ancient Greece, with Democritus and Epicurus considering that it was highly likely that there were other inhabited worlds besides Earth. An idea that originated from the proposal of Anaximander of Mileto that Earth was a body floating in an infinite void, one of the earliest insights about the nature of the planet Earth and space. While their ideas of worlds were more alike to what people now reference as planes or dimensions, for the most part, the idea of alien life was overwhelmingly dismissed at the time. But the seeds of the alien archetype were planted. During the Renaissance, it came back in full power, enabled by the constant progresses in astronomy. Giordano Bruno suggested that at least some of the stars had planets surrounding them, and some of those must have their own life forms inhabiting them. Johannes Kepler, upon reading Galileo Galilei's Starry Messenger, in which Galilei announced his discovery of the mountains in the moon and the 4 satellites of Jupiter, speculated that any planet important enough to have moons could have people. As the notions of astronomy grew over time, by the 19th century, one of humanity's longest-running mysteries was finally understood: meteors. While there were countless sightings of meteors throughout human history, and some people kept the falling rocks thinking that they were sacred, it wasn't until the 19th century, with the increasing reports of meteor sightings, that the phenomenon began to be better understood. This knowledge led to hypotheses that suggested that meteors could potentially bring extraterrestrial life into Earth. With the context of the theories that pointed out the possibility of alien life existing, the better notions of astronomy leading humans to understand that their planet was a very small part in a cosmos, believed to be infinite, and the idea that meteors are small rocky bodies that come from very far, the overall uncertainty of space gives the human imagination endless possibilities to fill in the blanks. Some may be more optimistic and hopeful, while others more pessimistic, dreading the unknown. From the latter, the idea of alien life takes the form of the thing from beyond, that don't restrict themselves to human comprehension. Some of the most famous and most influential inspirations for the things from beyond that are seen in games are, again, the Lovecraftian cosmic horrors. The Thing from Another World, with John Carpenter's version of it being possibly the most influential one, and Alien. In different forms, they draw from humanity's fear of the unknown, fueled by the vastness and darkness of space, and portray the feelings of hopelessness of humans when facing things beyond their comprehension. that assert their irrelevance in the universe. The things from beyond, when visually depicted, don't follow the rules of what life on Earth looks like. They may resemble some aspects of beings that humans have knowledge of, but these are often all over the place, chaotic, disrespecting the rules of nature. Their designs often relate to some phobias, to make all the more horrifying and illogical. Eyes, mouth, teeth, holes, masses of flesh and limbs alike to those of insects and sea creatures are found where they shouldn't be, in quantities that don't make sense. They may also lack a normal form, and instead be parasitic beings that take over whoever comes into contact with them, unsuspectingly infiltrating human life, and slowly spreading its influence by taking over more bodies, mimicking local life, creating illusions, and/or eliminating witnesses. While these design descriptions are commonplace due to the influence that Dimension works have on video games, the things from space, as their nature suggests, are only limited by the author's imagination, and could be anything and appear in any form, including with no visual appearance at all, only depicting its influence over the fictional world, which is what Miyazaki tends to do in his games, staying true to the way that Lovecraft wrote these unspoken horrors. While the archetype of the civilized aliens, whether good or evil, is a result of the imagining of societies similar to the ones of humans and unparalleled values, cultures, and histories that could exist across the universe, the thing from beyond is brewed amidst the fear of the unknown, the uncertainty of space, the helplessness of gazing into a seemingly infinite abyss, the suggestive nature of the dark beyond, and how humans may find their fears when filling in the blanks. These things may act in accordance with some objective of theirs, but their plans are indifferent towards humanity and their suffering. They can't be comprehended or reasoned with, even if it might seem like it for those who attempt to worship them as deities, not rarely a result of being driven to madness by learning of their existence and believing that they have no way to stand against them, so it's better to join them, in an attempt to find explanations, reasons and logic where there isn't, to make sense out of the senseless, believing that it is some kind of will of the gods, only to find out the truth the hard way. The thing from beyond is an archetype that reflects primordial fears of humanity that correlates to their survival instinct. It takes the fear of the unknown and of the dark, and manifests it into a larger scale, imagining what lies in the vast space that is nothing but largely unknown and mostly devoid of light. It often also relates to responses of desperation and/or bravery in the face of a threat beyond our wildest dreams, which is a bigger picture for the nature of the fight or flight instinct. While it might seem far greater, it is reflective of some of the most common fears that we face on a daily basis, such as the many known phobias. At the end of the day, maybe the incomprehensible wriggling mass of tentacles full of teeth and eyes, that wishes nothing but to destroy the entire universe, is not as bad as the horrors of real life. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.